less than a month away from April 15th, and it means if you haven't filed your taxes yet, you better get on it. And if you're like me, you're not getting a refund, so you're probably kind of waiting to that last minute and scrambling around and all that kind of good stuff. But there's always the best piece of advice is be careful because the scams are out there. And so I'm so fortunate to have Jim Denton of. I'm going to say this wrong. I should have asked before we got to the Arledge.
Arledge.
All
Perfect.
right, woohoo!
Perfect.
Got it. Arledge and Associates. You're a CPA here in town, and just kind of there's several tax scams that always go around. And if somebody's in that last minute hurry, there are times they can make themselves susceptible to that type of stuff.
Well, Jason, every year they come out with this stuff. They come out with a long list of tax scams that the IRS has said these are our dirty dozen. These are the top ones. And the first one on there is phishing. And now it's spelled what is it? P-H-I-S-H. So it's not the kind of phishing that you and I do, but it's a computer-type phishing where they throw a little bait out there and someone bites on it and they click on it, and all of a sudden some of their personal information has been transmitted and they didn't even know it.
This would be similar to maybe your bank giving you or sending you an email. It looks like your bank, but there's a few minor misspellings here and there. There's just something that isn't in sorts, but they got plenty of links for you to try to click.
They do. They want you to click on those links, and so they invite you. They try to bait you to do that. So don't take the bait. That's rule number one. It's just don't take the bait on phishing.
And if you have any questions as far as that goes, it's always good to check with maybe a computer resources guy. Always get a nerd in your side.
I always send them to my nerd and say, "What do you think of this? Is this for real?" And they say, "No, don't click on it."
There you go. All right. What else do we have to look for?
Well, there's phone scams, and I want you to know that the IRS does not call you up. They will not call you up and try to get you to pay some tax. If they do, you have been in a conversation with them over time. And so we say the only thing that you should really respond to, not a text, not an email, not a phone call, it will come in a letter in the good old-fashioned U.S. mail. That's right. That's right.
In fact, we over at the shop that I work at in the mornings, we got that exact phone call. The IRS, don't hang up. The IRS is going to file suit to collect tax. That's kind of the way it sounds. It sounds very stern, and they give you a phone number to call that I don't even recognize the area code. So it's that type of scam you got to be careful for.
If you're not aware of those kind of freak you out. So you've got to be on guard for that. The next thing's identity theft. This happened to me.
Really?
Yes. Last year I tried to file my tax return, and one of our identification numbers had been already used by some other person, probably sitting in their basement typing stuff in, and we got our ID stolen. So we had to go through a process. And so the process is the first thing you need to do on that is if it does happen to you, and it can happen to you, as careful as you can be. It's no reflection on you when this happens to you. The first thing to do is to file a theft report with the police. File a police report. And then have the documentation from that, because something's been stolen from you.
Right, right.
Then secondly, you're going to have to file Form 14039 with your tax return, and you're going to have to paper file. Usually you can get with a professional. They can take care of you on that. So at that point, you should follow the instructions on the IRS website, irs.gov. One of the best of course, I'm a tax nerd, so one of the best websites that I've ever seen is irs.gov.
We've got about a minute left with you, Jim, and say it's time to find a tax preparer CPA. How do you make sure you find one that's not going to rip you off?
Well, there's an organization here in Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Society of CPAs, and I'm a member of that, and 5,000 other CPAs here in Oklahoma are members of that. It's a great organization. They have a part of their website. You just go to it and type in "Find Your CPA," and there will be, and you put in your zip code, and certain CPAs will come up that are in your area that you can deal with. So it's very user friendly. We find it to be very helpful. Also, the IRS at irs.gov has their own check on there if you want to locate your preparer and see if there's been any complaints filed against your preparer. You can check on there and see if they've got a clean bill of health with the IRS. And the IRS, is having trouble with this person, then you probably don't want them filing your return for you because they could be taking some positions you don't necessarily want to take.
Well, Jim, our time is up, and it was way too short because I'm sure we could talk about all kinds of different things. Let's definitely do it again. Want to have you back, especially if you hear of scams or something we need to know. Plus, in fact, who knows? As life is complicated as it is, I might need a CPA soon, too.
Well, there you go.
All right. That's Jim Denton with Arledge & Associates. Thanks a lot for coming on today with The Drive.
So